Hello, I'm PAK and I'm a young adventurer. Today I'm going to tell you a bit about how young people really can make a difference, including you. Have you heard of someone called Greta Thunberg? She is a very famous young person who has made a real difference for the environment. Greta is Swedish and she is known for challenging world leaders to take immediate action to make a difference for climate change. Can you imagine challenging the most powerful people in the world? Maybe it sounds a bit scary. Maybe you think, I'm not sure I could make any difference. Well, let me tell you how it got started, and maybe it'll inspire you to make a difference too. In the beginning, Greta persuaded her parents to change their lifestyle and have a smaller carbon footprint. How big is your carbon footprint? Do you know what that means? So, it's a clever way of describing how lightly you're living, how much damage you're doing to the natural world by doing things that release carbon into the atmosphere, like driving and flying. They are things that we are doing too much of, so it's good to think of alternatives like walking to school, sharing lifts and flying less. What other changes do you think you could persuade your family to make in your home? At the age of just 15, Greta felt like she needed to do something more, to shake up the world and make people realise that the effects of climate change, flooding, forest fires, melting of the polar ice caps and more extreme weather events need immediate action. We need to start making changes now. But how was she going to get people's attention? This teenager was not going to give up. Greta came up with a plan. On Fridays, Greta started spending her school days outside the Swedish Parliament buildings with a sign saying, "School strike for climate change." Before too long, she started to get noticed. Others started joining her, and soon other students held protests like Greta's in their own communities. Things were getting moving. This one girl had started to create ripples of change across the globe. Together, all the students got together and organised a school climate strike movement under the name Fridays for Future. In 2018, there was a big climate change conference where Greta, as a teenager, got a chance to speak to world leaders and tell them that changes needed to be made, and they needed to be made now. After that, student strikes took place every Friday somewhere in the world. By the following year, there were lots of protests in lots of cities involving over 1 million students each. Can you imagine what 1 million people looks like? That's the size of all of the people in a whole city. Greta does not fly. She even went as far as sailing across to North America to go to the 2019 United Nations Action Summit to make a speech to world leaders. By this point, Greta had become famous. Her name was known and she was starting to make a difference. Who can argue with millions of people like Greta? World leaders were starting to take this youth movement seriously. Young people have a voice. Speak up. Isn't that an amazing story? If you feel that action is needed in your house, in your street, in your community, country, or even the world, little by little, you can make a difference. You will be heard. And this can be done with enough time, a plan, and a peaceful, thoughtful approach, clear thinking, and straight talking. Go for it! The Greta effect is real, and young people can make a difference. The future is yours. You can make the world a better place.